Good afternoon, Namaskar. My name is CA Harshvardhan Agarwal, and today I'm going to present on corporate social responsibilities recent amendments जो कि year January 2021 में आई हैं, and how it is a opportunity for all the CA professionals to tap into this new arena and establish a more significant practice. For providing me this opportunity, I would like to thank CA Vivek Khurana sir एंड अब मैं इसको आगे आई प्रोसीड. सो बेसिकली इसमें मैंने अमेंडमेंट्स कवर करी हैं पीपीटी में, जिसमें से जो रूल्स पॉलिसी रूल्स आए हैं 2014 में अमेंडेड, दे हैव बीन अमेंडेड इन जनवरी 2021, उनको कवर किया है. उसके बाद बोर्ड की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज क्या है, बोर्ड रिपोर्ट में डिस्क्लोजर्स क्या जाएंगे, और फाइनली जो पेनल्टी है नॉन कंप्लायंस की, उसको कवर किया है. सो एज यू नो, कंपनीज एक्ट 2013 के सेक्शन 135 में वी नो दैट की नेटवर्थ जिसकी 500 करोड़ और मोर है, टर्नओवर 1000 करोड़ और मोर, या फिर नेट प्रॉफिट 5 करोड़ और मोर है, they are covered under the ambit of CSR expenses. So now what the amendment has come is that social responsibility committee जो है, that will consist of 3 or more directors, of at least one would be an independent director. एंड जहाँ पे CSR ऑब्लिगेशन कंपनी की 50 लाख रुपीज को एक्सीड नहीं करती है, वहां पे ये कमेटी बनाने की रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं है, और उसके फंक्शंस जो हैं बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स जो है अपने आप ही डिस्चार्ज कर देंगे. सो CSR कमेटी के जो रोल्स हैं, रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज हैं, उन उन पे मना नहीं किया है. दे विल स्टिल हैव टू बी डिस्चार्ज, बट वेयर द ऑब्लिगेशन इज लेस देन 50 lakhs, दे कैन बी डिस्चार्ज बाय द बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स. CSR कमेटी की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज में क्या क्या आता है? They have to formulate the policy, CSR policy. They have to recommend the board of directors, the implementing partners, implementing projects कि शेड्यूल 7 जो है गिवन में कंपनीज एक्ट में, उसके तहत कहाँ कहाँ पे हम CSR एक्सपेंस कर सकते हैं. लॉ में लिखा है कि लोकल एरिया को प्रेफरेंस देना चाहिए वेन एवर CSR एक्सपेंस इज बिंग डन. एंड तो बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स विल डू इट, एंड मॉनिटरिंग एंड रिव्यू की भी जो रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है वो CSR कमिटी एंड इनडायरेक्टली बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स पे है, कि जो भी CSR का खर्चा कर रही है कंपनी, CSR खर्चा करने के बाद उनकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी खत्म नहीं हो जाती है. इट्स नॉट लाइक कि दे हैव पेड द मनी, अपना लाइक 2% ऑफ एवरेज नेट प्रॉफिट निकाला, एंड दे स्पेंड दैट मनी, दे गिव इट टू इम्प्लीमेंटिंग पार्टनर्स एंड देयर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज ओवर. ऐसा नहीं है. मॉनिटरिंग एंड रिव्यू दैट दैट फंड हैज बीन एक्चुअली यूटिलाइज्ड has been put on CSR committee and the board of directors finally. उसके बाद सेक्शन 135(5) पे आते हैं. बोर्ड इज सपोज टू स्पेंड 2% ऑफ एवरेज नेट प्रॉफिट्स मेड ड्यूरिंग द इमीडिएटली प्रीसीडिंग 3 years. अभी जो 22 जनवरी 2021 को इन्होंने अमेंडमेंट करी है, उसमें इन्होंने ये कहा है कि जहाँ पे कंपनी को 3 साल नहीं हुए हैं, वेयर द कंपनी हैज नॉट कंप्लीटेड पीरियड ऑफ 3 years since its incorporation, they then the period less than 3 years will be taken to calculate the net profits. And so basically, our view is that 3 years average profit is not required where the company has not completed 3 years after its incorporation. So in that case, number of years completed will be considered for average profit, and this requirement is effective from 22nd January 2021. Now we come to that if the company fails to spend such amount, if the company has a CSR obligation and they fail to spend such amount, then what will happen? Then the board will have to make a disclosure in the board report under section 134, subsection 3, subsection clause O. And they have to specify the reasons for not spending the amount. So the onus of spending that amount has been put on board of directors completely. And if they fail to do so, then in the board report, they have to specify why they do not spend that amount, and they have to do it with reasons. So the onus is quite strict on the board of directors to spend such money. And unless the amendment in January 2021, which came with respect to this, was that unless the amount spent relates to ongoing project referred in subsection 6, they will have to transfer the unspent amount to a fund specified in Schedule 7 within a period of 6 months of the expiry of financial year. So what happens is that as on 31st March, if you had CSR obligation and you did not spend it within the next 6 months, then you will have to, if you did not spend it till 31st March of that year when the obligation arose, then within 6 months from the end of financial year, you will have to transfer such money to a fund specified in Schedule 7 fund. So it could be PM Care funds or Clean Ganga fund. But if you do not spend the money till 31st March, you will have to transfer that amount to a fund specified. And if it is an ongoing project, so what is an ongoing project? Ongoing project is something which goes on with the duration of which is for 3 years. So if it is an ongoing project, then you can park that money, but you will have to transfer that money, park that money within a period of 1 month from the end of financial year. Another amendment which came with respect to this was that if company spends amount in excess of requirements, so if the 2% average net profit came out to be, let's say for example 10 rupees, and the company spent 12 rupees, then the such excess amount can be set off against the requirement to be spent in the next years. So this is a welcome step. And in case the CSR projects or programs cannot be categorized into ongoing projects, then the company has to ensure that it spends the required expenditure. Otherwise, they will have to transfer the funds in Schedule 7 within 6 months. And this is quite a strict requirement. There is no bypassing this requirement. And in case it's an ongoing project, they have to transfer that money into a designated bank within 30 days from the close of financial year if it's applicable. Going in depth regarding what is ongoing project, it means it's a multi-year project undertaken by the company in fulfillment of its CSR obligation, having timelines not exceeding 3 years, excluding the financial year in which it commenced, and shall include projects that were initially not approved as multi-year projects, but duration of which has been extended beyond 1 year by the board based on reasonable justification. So if you started a project and initially you were the board was not of the opinion that it will take 3 years, and during the duration of the project it comes across that it will take 3 years or the timeline needs to be extended, then those projects are also welcome under the ambit of ongoing projects. So here they have given a little adaptability with respect to that. Explaining the carrying forward and set off of unspent CSR expenditure once again, that it may be noted that company can carry forward set off any excess CSR expenditure beyond its statutory obligation, and the obligation obligation up to immediate succeeding 3 years. This is a welcome step since now companies can plan its CSR expenditure accordingly and can achieve desired results without bothering to lapse of excess spend. So sometimes what happens that the genuine, sincere and genuine activities they might get delayed due to the project length or some unforeseen challenges. So to give them a little flexibility, this step has been introduced, and this is a very good and a welcome step for people who are taking CSR obligations very seriously. Now coming to Rule 2D, CSR means activities undertaken by the company in pursuance of stat obligation laid down in Section 135 in accordance with these rules, but shall not include the following. Subclause A, activities undertaken in pursuance of normal course of business. So this rule specifies certain number of activities which will not be included under the ambit of CSR. Some of them are which are taken under the normal course of business. So the government wants that the business community, the companies, they become part and parcel partners in the social obligation, social responsibility with the government. So if the company is already doing something in the normal course of business, then it will not be included in the CSR ambit. Similarly, there are other things like contribution to political parties, or a few other things are also covered, like giving benefit activities which are purely for the benefit of the employees, or sponsorship activities which through which the company can derive marketing benefits, or any statutory obligations which the company already needs to pay on its own. So those activities will not be covered under the ambit of CSR. However, during the year 2020-21, we faced the challenge of COVID-19, and hence amendment was brought in correspondingly, that where a company is engaged in research and development of new vaccine, drugs, medical devices in their normal course of business may undertake research and development activity of new vaccine, drug, or medical device related to COVID-19 for financial years ending 21, 22, 23, subject to conditions specified. So to fight corona pandemic, to fight COVID-19 pandemic, the government gave a certain relaxation here, that the company, if it's engaged in any kind of vaccine, drug, medical devices, which helps fight the COVID-19 pandemic, then they can claim the benefit of CSR expense. In Rule 4.2, a new requirement was inserted that every entity covered under Sub-Rule 1 who intends to undertake CSR activity shall register itself with central government by filing Form CSR 1 electronically with the registrar with effect from 1st April 2021. So basically, it is a new area for chartered accountants to develop their practice in. And CSR 1 has to be signed and submitted electronically by the entity and shall be verified by a chartered accountant in practice or company secretary or cost accountant in practice. So the verification of this form is mandatory for all entities, prescribed entities who want to comply with CSR obligations and have a valid 12A ATJ registration. They will have to get a unique registration number under by filing form CSR 1, and this form will be signed by a chartered accountant in practice or CS or cost accountant. So the scope of practice increases for chartered accountants who are in practice. Absence of same shall make the donations ineligible as CSR expense, and MCA will presume same to be non-compliance of applicable provisions. Similarly, in Rule 5, Sub-Rule 2, the following sub-rule was substituted that CSR committee shall formulate and recommend to the board an annual action plan in pursuance of its CSR policy, which shall include the prescribed matters. Now, a very important point that was inserted in annual action plan is that monitoring and review needs to be done by the board of directors, that the CSR expense which they have done is actually been spent in the correct way and the benefit has reached the beneficiaries on the ground. The last mile benefit has been reached to the people for the purpose who were to derive the benefit of the CSR expense. So that onus, that responsibility has been put on board of directors, and this is an area of opportunity for practicing professionals that they could be involved in auditing of the funds which have been utilized. So basically, if a company has a CSR expense and they spend it through an implementing agency or by themselves, then they can hire a professional to monitor and review that the same has been spent and the benefit has been achieved by the beneficiaries. So this is an upcoming area of practice for the chartered accountants. In Rule 7, an important amendment came that the administrative overheads shall not exceed 5% of the total CSR expenditure. So when the company is doing CSR expenditure, there are other office and administrative overheads which are involved in spending that CSR expenditure. So if a company spends that expenditure, if incurs that expenditure, and if that is over and above CSR, then that will not be beneficial to the companies. So the amendment came and 5% umbrella was given, so that if the total CS expenditure is 100 rupees, then 5% of it can be spent as administrative overheads. However, what is administrative overheads has been defined in the rules, and design, implementation, monitoring, review of CSR expense and projects will not be included in this administrative overheads. So CSR amount may be spent by the company for creation or acquisition of capital assets which shall be held by a Section 8 company, beneficiaries of the CSR project, or a public authority. So during CSR expenditure, some capital assets might get developed. If it's a long-term project or it's a project of a large scale, if the CSR expenditure is quite significant, then the capital asset creation is quite possible in this scenario. So can the company hold this capital asset in its name? So, an amendment with respect to that came that provided a capital asset created by a company prior to Amendment Rules 2021 shall, within a period of 180 days from the commencement, comply with the requirements of this rule, which may be extended further to 90 days with the approval of the board based on reasonable justification. So there is no provision empowering a prescribed entity to retain a capital asset generated out of its CSR obligations for its benefits. It has to mandatorily transfer the same as aforesaid. Companies which are taking CSR projects and activities through some capital assets which have been created or acquired are required to transfer the same to prescribed entities within a period of 180 days from the date of applicability of these rules, which was 22nd January 2021. So by the year 20 by the date 20th July 2021, which has passed away, they need to mandatorily transfer the capital assets. Now, if we further extend 90 days, then the date will come approximately 18th October, by which they can transfer it with the approval of the board. Another important aspect which has come and which is highly relevant for practicing accountants is CSR reporting. So the board's report of the company covered under these rules pertaining to any financial year shall include an annual report on CSR containing particulars specified in Annexure 1 or Annexure 2 as applicable, and the same requirement applies to foreign company also. Every company having average CSR obligation of 10 crores or more in pursuance of subsection 5 or 135 in the three immediately preceding financial years shall undertake impact assessment through an independent agency of their CSR projects having outlays of 1 crore or more, which have been completed not less than 1 year before taking impact study. So, if a company has obligation of let's say 10 CR or more, CSR obligation of 10 CR or more, and they put it in projects whose outlay is 1 CR or more, then after the completion of 1 year of such project, a company has to mandatorily take impact assessment through an independent agency and monitor that impact assessment and report it in the annual report as well. So this is a very promising and upcoming area where huge projects with outlays of more than 1 crore will be covered under the ambit of impact assessment. A company undertaking impact assessment may book the expenditure towards CSR responsibility for the financial year, which will not exceed 5% of the total CSR expenditure for that year. So basically, administrative overhead, which I was talking about, it will be covered in this. So it is expected in the time to come that MCA may introduce a concept of CSR audit and whereby the initial coverage of the entities having average CSR obligation of 10 CR or more in the three preceding years. Yet, in with the passage of time, it is expected that threshold stands to reduce and more companies come within the ambit of the same. Hence, it is advised to gear up themselves and start undertaking impact assessment even without mandatory requirement as of now. So sooner or later, the government will expand its CSR umbrella. They would want more and more companies to contribute to and be partners with the government in sharing the social responsibilities. And with that will come CSR audits. Right now, the obligation is quite high that companies who have CSR obligation of 10 or CR or more need to get impact assessment done. But with that time, with passage of time, if that CSR obligation gets reduced, then more and more audit assignments are expected to come. Now, coming to the responsibilities of the board, what are the board of directors required to do? What are they supposed to do? What is their roles and responsibilities with respect to the new amendments? So, with respect to the ongoing amendments, which are carried on for 3 years or more, they have to transfer the unspent amount to a designated bank account within 30 days of the close of financial year. So if the project is ongoing, that is, it has an outlay of like up to 3 years, then by 30th April, they have to transfer such amount in a designated bank account that it is with respect to ongoing project. And if it is not an ongoing project, then they have to spend such amount by 31st March. And if they fail to spend such amount by 31st March, they have to mandatorily transfer the funds to any specified fund in Schedule 7 within 6 months from the closure of financial year, that is 30th September. And for projects that are implemented to Section 8 companies, trust or society, where the company does not implement the CSR on themselves and they choose to do it through an implementing partner, then till 31st March, they only need to ensure that 12A and 80G of such trust exists and is duly registered. But 1st April 2021 onwards, they have to make sure that CSR 1 registration compliance has also been done for such trust. Another important responsibility of the board of directors is that they have to disclose the composition of CSR committee and the CSR policy and the projects approved by the board on their website, if any, for public access. So these three things will have to be displayed on the website of the board of the company mandatorily. Another thing, the administrative overheads should not exceed 5% of the CSR expense. And this is the responsibility of the board to ensure that the limit of 5% is not exceeded. Then the capital assets created out of from CSR expense have to be transferred to the beneficiaries or the trust, and it cannot be held in the name of the company committing such CSR expense. So the first deadline to do so was 20th July 2021, which has now passed. But with the approval of the board, they can still do it by 18th October 2021, provided they have reasonable justification for the same. Next, undertaking impact assessment as per prescribed regulation for companies falling under the prescribed CSR obligation and the project outlay amount, which was 1 CR, and CSR obligation was 10 CR. Also, the chief financial officer or the person who is the finance manager of the company shall certify to the board that CSR funds disbursed by it have been utilized for the purpose and in the manner approved by it. So the onus of the board of directors has been increased significantly, and the CFO has to certify also to that effect that the funds have been utilized for the purpose and approved by it. And if the CSR obligations for the same are huge and they're difficult to monitor, then the same shall have to be done through independent agencies, which could be independent chartered accountants. Also, annual action plan as suggested by the CSR committee has to be approved. What are the disclosures to be given in the board's report? So under section 135 subsection 2, they have to disclose the composition of corporate social responsibility committee. Under section 135 subsection 4, approve policy and disclose contents of the same in the board report and the website. Under 134 subsection 3(o), specify reasons for unspent CSR amount. And rule 8 of CSR rules, they have to include particulars specified in annexure 1 or 2, and the same will apply to foreign company as well. And the impact assessment report has to be annexed to the annual report on CSR. In addition to disclosure as per annual report, as aforesaid, any company working on research and development of COVID shall disclose separately an annual report on CSR included in the board's report. Finally, we come to the penalty for non-compliance. So section 135 itself is well explained, and it has sub clauses in it. And CSR rules came in 2014 and they've been further amended in 2021. So companies going forward will have to keep all these three things in mind before discharging their CSR obligations. Right now, right here, we have discussed only the amendments which have come on 22nd January 2021. And if there's a non-compliance, then there's a penalty provision also, which is quite significant, and it has been introduced in 2021 only. That if a company is in default, the company shall pay twice the amount required to be transferred by the company to the fund specified in Schedule 7, or unspent CSR amount, as the case may be, or 1 crore rupees, whichever is less. And with respect to officers of the company, the directors, if they are in default, then penalty of 1/10 of the amount has to be transferred to the fund specified in Schedule 7, or unspent CSR amount, or 2 lakhs, whichever is less. The penalty amount would be 1/10 or unspent CSR amount, or rupees 2 lakhs, whichever is less, and that is on every officer of the company. So corporate should comply with every aspect of 135 and its rules, read with 134 of the Companies Act, and these penalties are quite stringent for the non-compliers. So I will wind up my presentation here, and I would say that it's an upcoming arena. It's a new profile for independent chartered accountants, and more and more companies will fall under the obligation of CSR with the passage of time. And for monitoring and review of that, and for CSR registration forms, and to conduct the CSR operations so that the benefits actually reach the ultimate beneficiary, the professionals and chartered accountants will play an important role in this aspect. So thank you. You can email me on the email ID given on the presentation if you have any queries with respect to CSR. I would like to thank CS Sansar platform, Vivek Khurana ji, for providing this opportunity once again. And do like and subscribe this channel. And if there's any other topic for which you want understanding or PPT, then please let us know. Thank you.